Yeah, this is my first time at this meetup, so yeah, good to be here. And so what I'm planning to run through in the next 10 to 15 minutes is give you a little bit of background on our product, which is DBmarlin, which is a database observability tool, and why we're looking to add Runbook automation or process automation to the product, why we've chosen Rundeck, and then I'm going to dive into some of the use cases that we're exploring. I should say we're at a much earlier stage than Franco. You seem to have lots of jobs already deployed there. We're at the very early stages of this. And at the end of the presentation, we have a free offer there for everybody on the meetup today. So yeah, I'm the product manager here for DBmarlin and one of the co-founders of Application Performance. 25 years I've been specialized in application and database performance now. So very focused on what we do. The DBmarlin product for database observability has been around for a couple of years now, and we've tried to basically build a modern database observability tool that's aimed at modern ways of working. So it's not just targeted at database administrators like a lot of the products in the past. We're targeting lots of different roles within organizations that all need visibility into database performance. As far as the visibility, we go beyond what a lot of the kind of historical products do, in that we have 1 second granularity, we have real-time data, but we also look at longer-term trends as well. We can generally get to the root cause of database issues with a few clicks, and we give you some actionable insights, not just a bunch of charts, but we actually have some recommendations of how you can improve things. The platforms we support are the ones that you see here. So it is the mainly relational databases from the big vendors like Oracle, Microsoft, and IBM, but also the open source vendors like MySQL, MariaDB, and Postgres. And we also support Cockroach, and that list will continue to grow through next year as well. But one of the other big differentiators we have is we also pull in change information. So it's not just performance that we're capturing, we're also capturing changes. So we can see automatically, we can detect schema changes and parameter changes within the database. And then we can ingest things like code changes and infrastructure changes from other sources of information like CI/CD tools. So these are some of the integration points where we think the Rundeck would be useful for us. As far as integrations we already have, we integrate with some of the other observability tools, and we also integrate with PagerDuty from an alerting point of view. And then we integrate into not just Jenkins, but any kind of CI/CD tool. And we like to be open and integrate with as many things as possible. So just to kind of show you some of the integration points we're thinking of, if I jump into an example here, I've got a PagerDuty alert that's been raised by DBmarlin. You can see it's because of high database wait time on a Postgres database. And in PagerDuty, you've got all the usual details. We've got information about the event, why it was triggered. And then we've got a click back here into the DBmarlin product. So now inside of DBmarlin, you can see here, this was a problem that happened yesterday where 6:30, the database time, which is the green bar here, started to increase. And then this is here, you can see that was where the alert was triggered that went to PagerDuty. But also here, just before that, you can see there were a couple of changes indicated by this icon. So if you go to our events tab, you can see what these things were. So these are the event types. So 2 changes. In this case, it was some indexes being dropped, and then the alert triggered. So these events here, the change events and the alert events, are really the things where we want to kind of link into Rundeck. So so why we're looking to add Runbook automation into DBmarlin? I guess the first thing would be automatic remediation. So I guess the holy grail is fix a problem without any human intervention. So self-healing software systems. Failing that, we want to be able to give the human operator quick access to a runbook so they can remediate the problem without having to remember, how do I SSH onto that box? Which script do I need to run to restart that process? Especially when they're under pressure because there's an incident, or maybe they've been woken up in the middle of the night. They don't want to be having to find all those things. So giving them quick access to a runbook is the next best solution there. And then in some cases, you might not be able to automatically fix the problem, but you might want to collect some additional diagnostic information to further troubleshoot the problem, things like log files and running commands. But then we started to think, as we explored this, there may be other tasks on the DBmarlin server itself that we could automate through Rundeck. So, for example, scheduled reports and email digests, two features that our customers have asked us for. We haven't delivered yet, but we think that by using Rundeck, this can give us a faster route to delivering these features for our customers. Another one is analyzing impacted changes. So I showed, when I briefly showed you the chart there in DBmarlin where we had a change event. So one thing we've been looking to do is to do change impact analysis automatically. So we see the change event, and then we look at a period of time before and after the change and tell you whether the change had a positive or negative impact on database performance. And then last but not least, we thought some kind of administration, self-monitoring, even upgrades may be something we could also use this for. So why did we choose Rundeck? I pulled this graphic from the website, but it kind of encapsulates everything that you get here. We're getting all of this without having to write it ourselves. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. This is one of the benefits of open source software. So we're getting something that has a nice web interface, an API, a CLI, lots of plugins, which I'll come on to, authentication, role-based access control, secrets management. So all of this stuff without us having to write it ourselves. And as far as the plugins, 127 plugins, it's all of the things that our customers are already using. So things like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, AWS, Kubernetes, just plain shell scripts and so on. So we get all of that, again, without us having to kind of reinvent the wheel and create all this for ourselves. So I'll jump into some of the example use cases. I need to caveat this by saying these are just ideas we're exploring at this stage, not product commitments. So don't make any purchasing decisions based on anything I'm going to show you here. But yeah, we'll have a look at the two categories here. So first of all, the remediation use cases. You can see the trigger for all these would be some kind of alert. So just going from the top, if we were alerting on high CPU time on the database server, if that is sustained at a very high level over a period of time, you may decide that the action there is to scale up the VM to add more virtual CPUs. If you have a low cache hit ratio within your database, it may be that you need to resize your buffer cache to give it more memory, so things aren't getting aged out of cache so quickly. So that would be configuring a database parameter and then restarting the database. Locking is a big one with databases. So if you get a buildup of locks, you may decide that the course of action there is to kill the blocking session. So that then lets everybody else continue working. So you could kill the session that was the head blocker, so that would release the lock for everybody else. Maximum connections is another common one with databases. If you reach max connections, nothing can get a connection to the database. So effectively your application is down at that point. So the course of action there may be to, again, change your database parameter, increase your max connections. If memory allows, obviously you don't want to size max connections too high if you don't have the memory on the box to support that. Fragmentation, index rebuilds, that's general, database maintenance tasks that you would do on a periodic basis. So you could look to automate those. Also wasted space. Sometimes if you insert into tables and then delete from them, that space then doesn't get freed up within the data blocks. So databases have the concept of vacuuming to reclaim some of that free space there within the tables. So again, a kind of maintenance job that you might want to automate. And then if you just have a general alert to say your database wait time has increased, it may be that there's further diagnostic information that you can collect there from things like log files or running additional commands. Moving on to some of the DBmarlin use cases. So these two I kind of see as being related things. So being able to send an email digest, like a nicely formatted HTML email with here's some of the key performance metrics for all the databases that you're interested in, and for somebody to get that in their inbox either daily or weekly or however often they want that, or to have that as a PDF report, again scheduled. So those are two things that customers have asked for, and I think scheduling of that is something that Rundeck could certainly do for us. On the administration side, I mean, these are some of the ones that we've already started to do, these two here. So I've already built these out, just early stages for us, but being able to start, stop, see the status of the DBmarlin processes, check the health of them, make sure that the processes are up and running, that you don't have errors. And if you do have any issues, sometimes our support team will ask, can you gather up all the log files and config files and send them to us? So we have a task there which will just gather all that information, zip it up into a support.zip file so that that can be sent on to support. And then last but not least, the change detection. I think this is a really important one for us. So triggered by a change event, to be able to automatically run an impact analysis report that tells you whether that change had a positive or negative impact on database performance. So that's everything I had on my short list. I did have some other ideas that were sparked by Franco's presentation as well. So yeah, I think the list of things we can do will probably grow as we start to get into it. And maybe we could come back to a future meetup and present our progress once we've kind of got a little bit further into implementing this. But yeah, I just wanted to leave you with this offer. So anybody on the meetup today, we'd like to offer a free premium license to DBmarlin. You can just head to the website, click on the free trial, and when you get the email come through, if you just respond back to that and say that you were on the meetup today, we can arrange to give you that free premium license. That lets you monitor one database of your choice, any of the ones that I mentioned that we support. And that was everything I had. So I don't know if there's any questions come through in the chat or if anybody wants to ask anything. If not, I can hand back to Justin.